All right, boom, and we're live just like that. Can't lie, I love this StreamYard shit. It's just boom, live.
StreamYard's
I
back.
can't. It's fantastic. It's fucking great.
Yeah,
I love it. I absolutely love it. Look, before we start, shout out to Raps on TV, who's in the building with us today. Really appreciate him coming on. Love his insight and boxing, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, I'm going to say this throughout the video a few times, but if you haven't subscribed to Raps on TV's channel, go and subscribe. You know, I always say, just go and look at someone's channel. If you don't like it, don't subscribe. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't like it, you think it's shit, don't subscribe. But go and at least give them the time of day to actually go over to the channel and have a little look at it. And that's what I would say. But Raps, really appreciate it coming on, bro.
Come on, bro. I mean, anytime, man. You know, once I get that call and he hits me up on that back mofo, I'm like, it's time, it's showtime. So yeah, no, absolutely pleasured to be here as well, bro. And always good to talk boxing with you. And I think it's a interesting topic. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Wilder Fury, anything to do with heavyweights, bro. Like, yeah.
it's a madness. It's a madness. Like, and the funny thing is about the Wilder, let's just jump straight into it. The Wilder Fury, or sorry, I should say Fury Wilder. Let's give it the correct term, right? Fury Wilder press conference last night. Fury is the champion after all. I thought the whole setup of the press conference looked a bit cheap, if I'm honest with you. It's like Bob Arum spared no expense, right? I mean, like that looked like it cost a few dollars, but forget all that. It happened. I'm gonna first question, fire it straight to you. What did you make of Wilder not talking? Yes, he talked when he got up to the podium. What did you make of him kind of putting the headphones on? I can't hear you. I'm not speaking. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, so I got to be real, I'll say it. No, I do like Wilder. I'm not a fan of his technical skill, but I like him as a boxer and what he usually says. I wasn't too impressed. I just feel, you know, it kind of reveals that Fury gets under his skin. And I think you've got to show a bit of tougher metal than that. Even if you know this guy's going to be an absolute head fuck. Sorry for the language, but a headache.
It's all right, this is the kind of channel where you can say what you want. You know how it is on this channel. Get it off your chest, brother. Get it off your chest.
But yeah, I think even if you know this guy's going to be an absolute headache, like just sit there, say one or two, keep it short and concise. I think that would have been a better approach that we see. Okay, well, he's speaking. But he's not elaborating tons like he does usually. And that's the thing, Wilder does, he is a talker. From his perspective, I think, look, you've made those allegations, you kind of gave them not credibility, but you brought them to the mainstream. So you're going to have to expect some questions about that. I don't think between now and the actual fight night, he feels, I don't know how he thinks he can get away from that. He has to address it one way or another. And I do think he could have been clever at, you know, even if he didn't talk about the gloves, he could have spoke about maybe some of the accusations that have been levied against Fury over the years. You know, some of the questionable things he's done. That he should have at least said that, but he's silent. So, and again, because of the whole, what is it, decapitated poetry, like the opening speech, the opening gambit, you could tell it was poetry. So I was like, yeah, I didn't like it. I'll be honest, I didn't like it. Yeah.
You know, it's funny with Wilder. Look, and look, I like the way you admit as well that you are a bit of a Wilder fan, because I'm happy you've done that, because a lot of people seem to be dismissing it right now. Like, even those that are Wilder fans, because of the way Wilder's handled himself after the defeat, they're like, oh, I don't like Wilder. I don't like. So I'm happy that you admit you like Wilder. For me, this is the thing as well with what you said. You've labeled a number of accusations at the feet of Fury, right? I mean, not just the glove cheating, the steroid stuff, etc., etc. This is your chance to go toe-to-toe with the person that you've accused of doing a number of different things. And I expected to see a bit more from him. I was a bit disappointed that Wilder didn't. Okay, yeah, but you cheated. You did this. You did that. I wanted to see a bit of that, because you know what Fury's like. Fury would have rebutted all of it, and they would have gone back and forth, and it would have been fucking epic. In the end, Malik Scott was answering the questions. I'm like, well, I didn't come to hear Malik Scott, and I like Malik Scott, but I'm like, I didn't come here to hear Malik Scott. I came here to hear Deontay Wilder. So I was a bit disappointed because of that.
Yeah, and I think with the Malik King Scott thing, and I, you know, he's a good guy. I think he's an interesting guy. He calls himself the odd guy. So if I call him the odd guy, it's not an insult. But he's knowledgeable about the game. Like, he's a Philadelphia boxer. Like, he knows a lot of the old school trainers, old school coaches. Like, he understands the fundamentals. But I think, again, you lost. Why are you bringing up the best eardrum? Like, why bring that up? It doesn't look good for you guys. And someone like Fury that's gonna give him fuel, because he's got straight away. What did he say? Look at this for a fun fact. Has there ever been a fighter that burst the opponent and the coach's eardrum? Like,
yeah,
it's like a Sky Sports fun fact. So, yeah, he did what he could, but I felt Malik showed that he also respects Fury quite a lot, which is not what you want, really. You know, in this type of, there's so much tension. You don't want that.
It's what's I found strange about this whole sort of Malik Scott talking about the burst eardrum is that Tyson Fury didn't even bring it up. It was Malik Scott that actually brought it up. Tyson Fury was like, I didn't bring up burst eardrum, you did. So it's quite interesting, but look, it's weird. On one side of the table, I see Sugar Hill Stewart very calm, Tyson Fury doing his stuff, what Tyson Fury always does, and the other side, I see Malik Scott getting a bit edgy and Deontay Wilder speaking. I mean, I don't know what you take from this. I don't know if people take stuff from this, but whoever won that battle, it was clearly Fury and then Sugar Hill Stewart.
Yeah. And I think, you know, for Wilder, maybe if there wasn't the accusations, right, but he came there quite solemn as he was, you know, I would definitely be saying he's in the zone. I think it's fair to say Wilder's in the zone. Now, there's an argument that people feel that Fury feeds off of fighters, right? So if he sees that he's got you wound up or he's got you in your head, like he actually he eats from that. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe keeping silent would work, but again, I think you've got to address the accusations you've made, even if it's very light.
Interesting.
Yeah,
this is interesting. This is from CRB. Forget that first nonsense, first line. This other line. Anyone that you know is shit he's talking. Anyone that thinks fights are won, lost at press conferences are morons. I completely disagree with that statement. And I think psychologically you can so I think we forget how much psychology plays in these big matches, these big fights. Bernard Hopkins always used to speak about it. Floyd Mayweather always used to make sure he got under his opponent's skin. Just so they when the fight started, they wanted to come out and kick his ass. I think we saw it with the second fight between George Groves and Carl Froch when George Groves completely turned it around when they done their little face-off. And these things matter in big fights.
Yeah, I think, and maybe not won or lost, Addy, but because I agree, I think obviously he said morons, which is too harsh. I don't think won or lost, but I think points are gained. I think you cannot deny that points are gained in the press conferences, in the build-up, in the face-offs, in the head-to-heads. That's why they do it, right? That's why Fury's saying 1-0 because he feels
that 100%. That's why. Why do you think no one wanted to turn away when they did the face-off? A face-off doesn't last 5 minutes and 49 seconds. A face-off lasts max a minute, normally 30 seconds. They knew it was a psychological advantage. Whoever was turning first lost. And these things matter. Fury spoke about it when he was in the sauna with Vladimir Klitschko. He said, I did not want to leave that sauna until you left, just to gain a psychological advantage. So yes, look, in the end, you still got to get in the ring. But I mean, these are small psychological advantages that everyone plays. It's just the way it is.
I think so.
It's just the way it is. What about Fury's condition? Do we care? I mean, we saw a bit of a belly. He always seems to have a belly, doesn't he, that kid? Does it matter anymore? I don't know.
I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Is it the belly or is it the fact he wears these cycling shorts? That just makes everything just seem wrong. Look, I've got to say, he spoke about the 300 pounds. I think that's a wind-up. I've got to say, I think it's a wind-up. I can't see him going in 300 pounds. Otherwise, you would argue maybe he's underestimating Wilder. And I think maybe you said it in your video this morning. Why change? So I think that's a wind-up. Shape-wise, I don't think we can look into that at all, to be honest. It's
he's one of those fighters where it doesn't, like, most fighters are kind of like, I want to see your shape. Yeah. With Fury, it doesn't matter. Honestly, right now, he's never going to be body beautiful. He's not going to have a Greek god body. He will never, ever have a six-pack in his life. So it doesn't matter. He's there and gets the job done. This comment coming in from Dino84. Do you think Wilder was advised to be silent? What do you think?
You want to? It depends on what advice. And what you would do? Do you mean like maybe what Al Heyman said? Oh, stay silent. I don't think so. Yeah,
like I feel like he is speaking to people. Like I think he's spoken about this before, that he does have conversations with people nowadays. I don't know if it's a psychologist or a therapist, but I do wonder if someone's told him, you're not going to win the verbal battles with Tyson Fury. It's just not possible. Tyson Fury is honest. He is Conor McGregor, like Floyd Mayweather. Like, there's no point trying to have a verbal battle with him. Because if you do, you're going to lose that battle. So why go into a war when you don't need to? If you don't need to, like maybe what CRB stand, the war is going to be in a ring. Why have a war before you need to have a war? So I feel like maybe someone might have advised him, there's no point. Let's just go to the press conference because we have to go to the press conference. But let's do as minimal as possible, then get out of there.
Yeah. Potentially. I'm not sure. And I think for me, I've seen he's done a few interviews with, like, let's say, the up and coming media, which I found quite interesting. And that's the kind of person he is. And I don't want to say it, but I'm going to just go do a quick plug. Deontay Wilder came onto my show when I had about 400 subscribers, bro. And like, he spoke to callers. And so that's why I know he's a talkative person. So yeah, I don't know if you can advise him to keep quiet. I feel like he just talks if he wants to. So
I love that. I love that you say that about Deontay Wilder, because I feel like right now, like I can read some of the comments, and guys, I will go through all of your comments. I promise, as many as possible. It is a lot of negativity to put towards Deontay Wilder, right? Just because of those allegations, but things like you say there, like him coming into your channel, we need 400 subscribers. Deontay Wilder, was he the WBC heavyweight champion of the world at the time?
It was in the build up to the rematch with Ortiz. Yeah, so he was a WBC champion.
That's incredible that he would come on your channel.
Yeah,
so I mean, look, I love things like that.
Yeah.
So I can understand why you like it. I was going to put this comment up from CRB. He says, and look, CRB, look, me and you always go back and forth, and I love the chat, but I appreciate the super chat.
I like CRB.
So Wilder, brother, me and him, fucking hell, this kid. So Wilder has to address allegations to help journalists who slagged him off get clicks, views on their channels to drive their revenue. Okay, sure, mate. No, it's not even to like for journalists, because journalists didn't put out these allegations. It was Wilder that put them out himself. I guess it's almost a case of, okay, let's have a conversation with the person you're alleging done all these things. That's my thing. It's not even really for journalists. And I think, look, I didn't want him to address all the allegations, but I wanted to say something about it. Like maybe even when he gets on the podium, say something. So maybe not directly to Fury, but say something about these allegations, because there were a lot of allegations. It wasn't just that. It was a case of someone spiked his water. There was a lot of allegations. I don't think you can just chuck them out there willy-nilly like that. I think you've got to say something about them.
Yeah, and I think to that point, probably that's, he's right in that sense, because of, Wilder came out and said, none of the journalists called him. But I think there's still a way of doing it. I think you can still speak short, concise, and then, like he has done, go to the media that you feel support you, if you like, and give them the exclusive interviews, which is what he's done. Yeah. So, yeah, and you've got. I think even CRB has to acknowledge the contrast. Like, you've asked for this fight, so if you didn't, you've asked for this fight. What happens in the fight? There's a press conference. There's fight week. There's a weigh-in. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Yeah, like the fight isn't just the fight on the night. There is other things that you have to do in order to lead up to the fight as well. So, I mean, you know what comes with it. You've gone to court to make sure that you get this fight. You've now got the fight. You've said some things in the lead up to it. Come on, let's talk. Let's open it up and talk. What about this one? And a lot of people not really spoke about this one. Alex Paul says, does Wilder retire after he loses to Fury again? Let's not if he loses, because we never know what could happen, right? But if he does lose, do you think he calls it quits?
I don't see why. I mean, yeah, I guess it's the type of loss. It depends on how he loses, but I don't see why. I think there's still a lot of fights out there for him. But yeah, I don't see why. I don't. Yeah, if you guys, I don't subscribe to that. Oh, if you lose, you retire. People have said that so many times. I just don't subscribe to that. I think you can still fight. I think Broner's come back. Sorry, bro. Yeah. So
no, it's strange how that's now become a thing in boxing, right? You lose a couple of fights or a fight, and everyone's like, "Oh, we should call it quits." Well, 1 second. What, because I just lost?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm all for getting rich, get out. If you get hurt, like if you get seriously hurt, then call it quits. But if you just lose a fight, then absolutely no way. Like Lewis Ritson, a lot of people were asking me the other day, should Lewis Ritson call it quits? I'm like, why?
Yeah,
like no. I mean, he should just go down a level and make some money at European, British, and no decent level fights out there. I mean, Ara Davis at 140 pounds could happen.
Exactly.
I mean, there are actually fights that can make some money. So, I mean, I don't think you should call it quits at all.
And to that, I think if you're talking about a Povetkin, to me, Povetkin, that's the right decision. He looked tired in the last Dillian White fight. He's retired. He's what, 40 plus? Cool. You call it a day. But Wilder, what, 36, 37, still relatively fresh? Nah, I don't think so.
No, I don't agree at all. This is the question that's been coming up, and I don't know. You might know more on this. Obviously, the top ranked deal on Sky. Did he say Sky or Sly? Sly. Top rank deal. He might be having a dig at Sky. I don't know. Yeah. Did this include this Wilder Fury fight?
No. See, I'm certain I saw an interview with Frank Warren where he said it does not include Tyson Fury. So Tyson Fury stays on GT Sport. Yeah.
That's actually a joke. So what? Sky have just signed a deal with Top Rank.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury is a top ranked fighter, but
Yeah.
it doesn't include the biggest fight on Top Rank, so it doesn't include that one.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
I
you
know.
could
I
it
think
with Sky though, right? With Matchroom, they made sure they held on to Joshua. Obviously, there's only one fight left, but yeah, it's a
all right.
strange
What's
one.
this
Yeah.
one then? Major K Dot says there is a chance Wilder is locked in his own world. Aside from everyone view, he might be ready for his war. He might be. I can't lie to you. For me, he looks ready for war.
Yeah.
Like, it might mean nothing because I thought he looked ready for war the second time round. But right now, he looks like he's ready to go. But it's funny how I think most fighters on the planet would almost be intimidated by what Wilder did yesterday. No talking, face to face, take the glasses off. The only fighter that I know would not be intimidated is the fighter he's fighting.
Yeah.
That doesn't intimidate. That would intimidate any normal human being. A guy that's 6'7" who can hit like a truck, and he takes his glasses off and talks about decapitating you. But I mean, gypsies don't work like that, or at least anyway. It's not going to intimidate Tyson.
Not at all. Even the whole decapitated talk and or bloodshed and that. It's no point saying all of that. And I think the irony. So Deontay Wilder did an interview, and I listened to it, and he said that he was actually listening to Sunshine Anderson's "Heard It All Before," and I thought to myself, the irony is that actually from yourself, we've heard this decapitation talk all before, right? So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah.
Someone reached out to me on the YouTube after I'd done my video this morning. They were like, Ade, he's not there. Something along the line, he's not there to talk. He's there to fight. And I was like, well, 1 second, brother. It can't go two ways. He talked a lot in the first two press conferences, and he's talked a lot in the 40 fights prior. So all of a sudden now he doesn't want to talk. So all of a sudden, I'm Deontay Wilder and I don't talk. And that's the kind of things that I'm not necessarily a fan of. I don't like that. I love the psychology aspect of it all, but you still got to talk.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a press conference to kind of sell a fight. You still got to talk a little bit. And I it's almost like he feels like he's so hard done by. He's not talking. I'm like, you're hard done by. I was fucking trying to make a documentary about AJ Fury. I'm hard done by.
Yeah, but I do think with Wilder, Malik Naji, I think said this, that he's got to be slightly delusional and believe in himself. And I think if he's in the zone, then all of this will make sense. If he gets the win, and that's a big if. If he's in the zone and he gets the win, I think not having Fury destabilize him, then it works, because no matter what, like me and you both say, I think you can score points and gain an advantage. So if Fury hasn't really gained an advantage, maybe that does something for Fury. Wilder, we might not be able to articulate what that is, but maybe when he's gone back to camp today and he's training, he feels energized because he's like, yeah, I know, he's not second guessing himself or whatever. So if he's done it to stay in the zone, fair enough. But I think he has to also take the negative that comes with that by doing that.
What about the idea of there not being another press conference? I mean, look, I know we're 6 weeks away from the fight, 6-7 weeks away, but this is a massive fight. I mean, I almost feel like there should be a press conference over here. I mean, let's be honest, they can get into private jets tomorrow and be over in the UK, do a press conference, and they're back before tea time. I almost feel like this fight deserves a press conference over here, because at the end of the day, he's fighting a UK fighter. Why is there not a press conference over here? Why is there just one little press conference that lasted all of 25 minutes, 5 of that being a face-off when no one spoke? What's that about? There should be a presser over here, no?
I would have said yes, right? But I'm not gonna lie, I love the face-off, and I feel it was so tense. I felt that was the perfect way to just end the prelude. Let's just go to our own camps now and then meet again and fight. I loved it. I've got to say,
I didn't even expect Wilder to come and do the face-off because he didn't speak. During the press conference, apart from when he went on the podium. I was like, he ain't going to do the face-off, because there was a time when it looked like he went and spoke to Shelley Finkel, Malik Scott, and I think he was telling them, I ain't doing it, but I think they said, you kind of have to do it. I didn't expect him to do it, but I love the way he took his glasses off. I hate when fighters wear glasses, dark glasses, doing a face-off. It's almost cheating.
Yes.
I love the way he took off. It was almost a case of, look into my soul. What do you see? I'm sold, by the way. You can probably tell by my voice. I am fully sold. Take my money now.
Exactly,
and that's why this is going to do major numbers.
Exactly, and that's why I don't think they need to even do a big promotional tour for whatever reason. Maybe they did for the second fight. They did a big tour. Remember GMTV? Piers Morgan got involved. with those two. For this one, I don't think they need to. And I think that face-off, because there's so much tension between the two of them, it's just cooking well. It's cooking well. I can't wait. 20, and it's not far, bro. I'm telling you, this fight is not far.
I think it's not far as well, and we're going to talk about this because it's almost like we've got fights every single week or weekend leading up to it. All big fights as well. Obviously, Gervonta Davis, it would have been Teofimo. We've got Charlo coming up. Loads of big fights in the lead up to it. That's why. BG London says Wilder's doing the silent bad man thing. If you know, you know. It's funny because that's almost like a reference to like a Nas song. Quiet and kill, loud talk shit. Bleep, bleep. So it is a case of that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it all works, if I'm honest with you. I don't know. We'll see. I just don't feel like you can just all of a sudden go zen on it. What about Malik Scott being he's now 100% confirmed, we know now, full-time trainer for this event. I don't know if Malik Scott's trained anyone in the past. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, he's a man that knows his boxing. He's been around every heavyweight camp there's ever been in the last 15 years, but not a trainer.
Yeah. I think probably maybe at Deontay's level of of fighting, maybe Malik Scott is the good start. And when I say that, to say somebody that he can listen to, that can give maybe speak honestly. I think there's a lot of yes men in the camp, but I think he respects Malik's opinion. He's a fighter, and I think he's got a very high knowledge of boxing. Not just he knows about the old school coaches. He understands their fundamentals. He tries to practice the fundamentals. So is it going to be a huge help for him? I don't know. There is that reverse type, but I think we should see some improvements, and maybe, just maybe, he can give him a bit more of an edge. I don't know. Maybe get him back into like being thinking, because I always liked Wilder when he fought Stavern the first time. I felt that he showed a bit of good foot movement. He was able to operate with the jab. Maybe that's where he can get back to. Not sure it's going to help him, but yeah.
But anyone can show good foot movement against Stavern. I mean, if I get in there, I can't even punch for love nor money. I mean, Stavern must be the slowest heavyweight I've ever seen that was a champion anyway in the last 50 years. I mean, he was the slowest champion I've ever seen in my life. So anyone can show good foot movement. Go back to the Malik Scott thing as well, though. I do think it's good to have a new voice in the camp. I mean, it can get stale sometimes when you imagine every single day going to training camp. It's the same voice, same instructions. And fighters always tell you about camps being the hardest thing. The fight's supposed to be the easiest thing. Camp being quite difficult. So I think going into camp with a friend, and those two are friends now, they vacation together, they are friends. So that might help him. Just the idea of that, enjoying camp, happy fighter is a good fighter. So that might be a reason to bring Malik Scott in as well. And plus, look, Malik Scott, like you say, he's been in every single, I'm not joking, guys. Malik Scott has been sparring in every single title fight. Malik Scott has been brought in to spar. Everyone's brought him in. So he's been to every single camp. So what he doesn't know doesn't need to be known.
Yeah.
That's how good Malik Scott is. What about the accusations that Tyson Fury's just been living it up in Miami and Vegas?
Yeah,
it looks like he has been living it up a little bit. I don't know if there's a true, but I mean, if you're in Vegas or Miami, it's going to be hard not to have a drink in it. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. I've not seen a lot of it. I think his shape has always been what it is. Maybe he's been a bit frustrated, but I think I haven't taken too much from the Miami or the Vegas situation at all, to be honest with you, brother. I've got to say, for me, someone like Fury, I don't know. I think he's training. I think he's focused. Sugar Hill as well. Yeah. I think he's a serious individual when it comes to this boxing game. You don't waste his time. So I'm
and then you add into that as well, Andy Lee, chucking Andy Lee to that as well, who will be brought into camp as well. Those are boxing men. Those are boxing men, and I think Tyson Fury wants to. I think he wants to do a number on Deontay Wilder. I really do. I think he wants to put in a performance. It's not going to be easy. Like, this is Deontay Wilder. All of it. I mean, I like how everyone says and thinks this is easy work. They must be crazy. When a man hits that hard, this is never easy work, and it's not a myth. This man hits hard.
Yeah, and bro, I mean, and I'm going to sound so with the first fight, right? I do feel a lot of people forget that it was a draw. Now, obviously, there's tons of controversy.
But it wasn't no draw. It wasn't no draw, blood. It wasn't no draw, blood.
Bro, that was a draw, and I scored that fight as a draw, and it was, you know what? And I always remember. I'll tell you why. And even my scoring, it was very similar to Badou Jack and James DeGale, where that knockdown in the last round just allowed them to catch up. That was it. And I think, look, the referee, not that it matters, he scored the first 4 rounds to Wilder in that first fight. So I think it was Say again?
Okay, so basically you're trying to say the first fight, okay, it was close. It was even if you gave it to Fury by 1 or Wilder, it was a close fight.
English
but
that was
the worst Tyson Fury we've seen.
And agreed. So I mean, I'm not saying Wilder's got a good chance from it, but I'm just saying I think people are getting carried away now and thinking, oh yeah, he won the first fight. Yeah, he battered him in the second one. But I just think you can't ignore 2 knockdowns. Like I just think you can't ignore that, which is Wilder's speciality.
No, I agree. Let's quickly answer the question from CRB. Going back to the accusations, Wilder addressed all the allegations in 2 post-fight interviews. AJ Fury block off certain media. No one cares. Now Wilder doing it and they're mad. It's not even block off certain media things here. Come on, brother, stop this. You're one CRB. Come on, you're not one of those what are these things called LDB. CRB isn't that. Trust me, people, he isn't that. But again, those are massive allegations. These aren't small allegations we're talking about. And I say that because I'm a Miguel Cotto fan. And when Margarito cheated, you've got to bring that to the fore. These are big things you're talking about here. You can't just like, oh, he addressed it. No. The world's media, all of the world. So not just a YouTube channel or a media channel. Everyone, all the YouTube channels, all the big broadcasters were watching yesterday's press conference. Let's address these allegations. Let's bring them out. Let's bring some evidence. Let's do it. Let's really do it. I remember when Miguel Cotto had the second fight with Margarito. I don't know if you remember this. Max Kellerman was doing the face-off.
Yep.
Everyone was like, Miguel Cotto, address it. Miguel Cotto bring an iPad out and showed it right to Margarito's face and said, this is what you did. You cheated and I saw, remember that? Addressed it in front of everyone. Millions were watching it at home. Everyone was like, oh shit, okay. He did cheat. That's what I'm trying to say. And Miguel Cotto did it. He did it his way. And that's what I'm trying to say. I feel like for Wilder, you can't say things like, man, I've been cheating and he had something in his glove without addressing it when you get the chance to in front of the world's media. You can't pick and choose what media you go to. That's the only point in it. What do you make of that, Raps? What do you think?
I think, in terms of the allegation, I think he hasn't addressed it at the right level, in my opinion. And I think he should maybe take a bit of questioning on it as well, just to, even if it's to defend your stance. Like you said, listen, here's this iPad, here's this picture. Can anybody explain to me why the glove is bending like that? Or, okay, this video from 3 years ago, the referee's pulling up his glove. I'm not saying I believe it, but I'm just saying if you believe it, you've got to bring evidence, even if it's...
I would have loved Tyson Fury, because look, people come back to me and say, Ade, what about that floppy glove? And it's quite difficult to understand, if I'm honest with you. And I would love Fury to have said, this is how and even Sugar Hill Stewart that's there to have said, okay, this is how the glove, and this is why, do it. Let's go. Let's bring it out there, right? Because right now everyone's going back and forth over social media. Everyone's confused. That's my point. Gupta says here, thank you so much, Gupta, for the super chat. Do you think Al Heyman and Shelley Finkel are trying to cash out Wilder on this fight? Last one at top level should he lose, unless he becomes WBA regular. I don't think they're trying to cash him out. Not at all. I just think that there's a lot of money in this fight. That cashing out thing isn't real, by the way. I mean, there's too much money in boxing right now. There's terms that should be thrown away, and that's one of them. Cash someone out. They ain't trying to cash nothing out. Even if Wilder were to lose in a close fight, there's still big money fights with Andy Ruiz. There's still big funny, not massive money fights. There's fights with Charles Martin. If F.A. Jaguar smashes Frank Sanchez, that's a big fight. Loads of fights out there. So I don't think he's trying to cash out anyone. What do you think?
No. I mean, I will say I think they're annoyed with him. I would say I think they're annoyed with him because he's probably not, and this is what I mean about why he's probably not listening to the advice they would be giving him. Again, on the accusations, like if you're coming out with that type of stuff, let's back it up with evidence. So, but cashing out, I don't believe so. I think, he's still a big ticket item in the US. People may not want to admit that, but if you're going to talk about American fighters, he's a big draw. I don't know what's going on with the Bridgerweight. So let's say he was to lose. Like, is the Bridgerweight a possibility for him? I'll be honest, I don't know much about their structure with that division, but that's somewhere where you could see him falling into. But I don't think they'll cash out.
No, I don't think so as well. Look, Wilder, yes, he's 35, 36. But let's be honest. I mean, he looks in good nick for a 35, 36-year-old, right? He hasn't taken much damage over his career. Yes, people will point to the last fight, but I'm trying to think of fights where Wilder's taken a bit of damage. Molino took a couple of punches. Ortiz definitely. That's it, really. 3 or 4 fights. Most of the fights have been done in a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
Comment here. Go on.
No. I saw the comment. I was like, I like what this guy's kind of saying. Yeah.
Yeah, comment here from Wayne Swaby says the fight has sold itself. I think it's good that he ignored Fury like he didn't exist. Fury needs you to respond to his trash talk. Maybe. That's a good point. You know, it's weird when it just goes one way. And Fury was probably coming in expecting the worst and got absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So I think Fury was almost annoyed from it as well. I think Fury referenced that in the press conference, didn't he? Like,
Yeah.
I'll play wild then, because if I'm coming in to sell the fight, I'll be both of them. He mentioned it, didn't he? So imagine someone not listening to hear reps.
Yeah, and just going to say to that point, though, when I think about it, like if you think since Fury's return, the best performances we've seen from him are against Wilder. What happens in the build-up? There's a bit heated, there's a bit of tension, there's a back and forth. You think of Wallin, you think of Schwartz, is it Safiri that he fought? There's nothing to go back between them. So maybe that's what does fuel Fury. Do you get my point? In terms of once there's a bit of back and forth, he then is a bit more motivated whilst he knows the opponent's more dangerous. I don't know, maybe that's part of his psyche. I don't know. But yeah, I like that point.
Do you feel like there's? I'm sorry, here's the big boss. Imagine scoring the first fight, anything other than a Fury win. I do feel like a lot of people, though, when watching fights, they go on the scorecards that the commentator's giving you rather than scoring it themselves. I think a lot of people need to put fights on mute and just score it yourself without listening to the commentator, and then you might have it different. Although I will say, I didn't agree with Raps, if I'm honest with you. No, no chance. No chance. Sid Wilson says, go on.
No, I was going to say, for me, that fight, I scored that literally a draw. I had him losing.
No.
That knockdown in the 12th got it back.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. Wilder's Sky interview was full of cringe excuses. Yeah, I saw that as well. First of all, I was surprised that Sky even had someone out there, but Sky obviously did. It was a bit of a weird interview. I'm not going to second guess Wilder's mindset right now. All I would say, though, he's ready to kill. That I saw. Wilder looks ready to go right now, and I'm excited for July 24th. I have. What's this one from CRB? He said Wilder has not addressed it at the right level. You mean addressed ESPN, who lied on Wilder about step aside money and arbitration? Why give them content? You're not giving content to ESPN. You're giving content to everyone that tuned in. Everyone. This isn't ESPN. This isn't abroad. This is everyone. This is it. This isn't a case of, oh, but you're going on that channel and he liked that channel, so of course he's going to go on that channel, or he doesn't like that channel, so he's not going to go on that channel. No, the eyes of everyone was on that press conference yesterday. So this is you now going to everyone. And once it's said and done, that's it. Right now, people are now asking the questions.
Yeah, and even if you want to hold that ESPN rival network talk, fine. What about Fox? Has he said anything on Fox? Because that's his current network at the moment. So again, I didn't necessarily mean ESPN. I just meant on a more recognizable platform. Yeah, but
and I think that for me, that would be nice for him to say. This is interesting. No, I like this one. Ash says Fury hasn't addressed these Nandrolone allegations. Why should Wilder address anything related to him? So this is interesting. You say he hasn't addressed. Fury got banned. I think people forget that as well. Like the Fury have a ban.
Yeah, but no one questions him, bro. I don't think no one from the media has ever questioned that. And I think Wilder could have used that in his advantage.
It's the boxing media is interesting, especially obviously look the YouTube ones. I understand why they are somewhat fearful of doing that because you do that, you're blocked, you're not going to events again, so it's difficult, right? But I'm shocked that proper media, that people that work and write haven't addressed that because it isn't just Tyson Fury, it's Huey Fury as well, and all the boar meat crap story. And I think, remember, the farmer came out recently and said, what did the farmer say? I didn't give him boar meat. They paid me to lie. And that got swept under the carpet very quickly as well. So you're right. You're right. Look, I'm not going to even defend Fury. I've come on this channel many a time and said, Fury got caught cheating. Yeah. I've said it, Billy Joe Saunders has got caught cheating. Like a lot of boxers get caught cheating. All of a sudden, it didn't happen. Like, come on. This is very true. This is the most truest statement we've had this morning. I mean, this evening. It raps looks like a cross between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and James Toney.
Mate, listen, man. Let me turn my screen off, man. I need you guys to love, man.
That's true. What's this one? Rowan Perry said Wilder's head must be messed up. They still be talking shit after a straight beating. He didn't talk shit. He didn't say anything. This is the funny thing. We didn't even get to hear anything apart from the little poetic piece he did on the podium. We didn't really get to anything. Raps, let's talk about the fight itself. July 24th, Tyson Fury seemingly has been getting prepared for Anthony Joshua. Different style, where Anthony Joshua's a bit more of a boxer than Wilder, who's definitely a puncher. AJ's a bit of a boxer puncher. Wilder has seemingly been preparing for Fury because he obviously the arbitration would have known this is going to go his way. Any advantage to Wilder in that sense?
No, I don't think so. He still had surgery last year. So if you think back once the pandemic kind of kicked in, I think around July, August, September, he had surgery. So yeah, that he would have had to recover from that. I think he was probably confident he was going to get the decision from the arbitration, but I don't think it's an advantage. Personally, no.
What about the fact that both of them have been at the ring for so long? So what, February 2020 is when they fought. They're going to fight July 24th. That's like 18 months. 18 months out of the ring for both of them is ridiculous.
Yeah. At the end, I think maybe the fact is they've both been out might work in, it's a disadvantage for both. But yeah, I still see Fury winning this fight. I've got to say, look, I think Wilder will make some improvements. And I even think, Wilder losing on points is a good thing for him. Obviously, he wants the belt. I get it. It sounds silly. What do you mean losing on points? But I think he can buy back some credibility by doing that, showing that it's a tough fight again, and letting it go to the scorecards. I just think, no matter what, if you're going into the toolbox, I just think Fury's got more to pull out than Wilder. I don't think Wilder is fundamentally flawed as people say, but Fury's levels above. I'm sorry to say that.
Yeah, levels above in every department apart from power. And I think Wilder would tell you that Fury actually does have some power now as well. It's not like he has no power. Like Fury, I don't care who you are, but if a man that weighs nearly 300 pounds and is 6'7" hits you, it's going to hurt. I mean, this is not, he's not feather dusting here. Matt says #1 versus #2. Ring Magazine cannot wait. AJ is looking a bit silly here, enforcing rematches. Obviously, this is in reference to AJ enforcing a rematch with Usyk, who's mandatory for the WBO. It's funny. People saying AJ looking a bit silly. I think Usyk will be happy to take the rematch clause in that one, because if you beat AJ, the amount of money he's going to make in the rematch is ridiculous. Ask Andy Ruiz right now if he's happy of having a rematch clause put in.
Yeah.
Ask him. You know what I mean? Andy Ruiz made more money than he's ever made in all of his fights combined, fighting AJ in Saudi Arabia. So, look, it's not the worst thing in the world.
I'll be honest, bro. I've got no issue with it. I actually think it's a good thing, because I think, #1, it shows us that Joshua sees this as being probably a more difficult fight than a lot of people are saying. I feel like, I don't know, the buzz I'm feeling at the moment is that a lot of people feel Joshua will walk through him. I think he'll win, but they will present, Usyk's going to present challenges for him. And the first 4 rounds are going to be key to that fight, because if Joshua can't land the glove on him those first 4 rounds, we're going to see an upset. I know but I just think if Usyk is able to be elusive, which he rarely is, and maybe he takes his power, I think, Usyk could surprise us. But I think it's good we get a rematch.
Joshua has to dent him early.
Yeah.
For the sake of my heart and my heart palpitations, if Joshua does not dent Usyk and Usyk starts to go through those gears that he clearly can go through, there's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a problem.
You get what I mean when I say the first 4 rounds, it's so critical for Joshua. I think, he probably is the favorite going into this, right? I wouldn't say he's the underdog, but I just feel
he's definitely going to be favorite.
Yeah. Usyk defensively, I feel like that's going to be his problem at the heavyweight division. I just think you can't, and it's a one punch, right? It's the division of one punch, and I just don't think you can slack, and you can't allow yourself to get tagged earlier. Nah.
Yeah, honestly, as you're talking, I'm just reading a couple of comments. Matt is going back and forth with people over here because Matt said #1 versus #2. Wilder is not #2. Wilder. I don't know where. Come on, it's just not. I'm not having it. It's not having it. AJ, surely AJ's #2 now. I'm not having that. No. Go on, Raps. You're a Wilder fan.
Yeah, no.
I'm the AJ fan here.
#1 and #2. But arguably, though, I guess you have to say the winner of the fight. So if Wilder pulls out a surprise, then are we going to say he's #3, #4 still, or no? I think
right now. Yeah, right now, Tyson Fury is #1. I
Yeah,
don't think he's unbeaten. He's number one. He's beaten the guy that was unbeaten. He's number one. I think Joshua's body of work puts him at number two. And to have 2 wins against 2 guys top 10 as well recently in Ruiz and Pulev, and people might laugh about that, but they were top 10. So I would have Joshua number 2 and I'd have Fury number 3. That's where I've got it. Sorry, Wilder number 3. Apologies, Wilder number 3.
I would agree with that. But I think it could easily change. Again, I'm not saying Wilder puts on a show, wins the belt. Can't say he's number 3 now that he's beating Fury and he's beat the man who beat the man.
No, you're right. He's beat the man. And that's why AJ somehow needs to get involved in this equation. Because right now, he's the one on the outside looking in. But if AJ puts on a performance against Usyk and destroys Usyk, then he solidifies that number 2 spot. I'm not going to say he goes to number 1. He solidifies the number 2 spot.
Yeah, and even still, bro, there's still an argument. You could say, look, Usyk's a fantastic athlete, but he's still coming up as a cruiserweight, and you would argue that.
Oh, come on. He hasn't been cruiserweight for 2 years.
Yeah, but you know what? I was speaking to somebody, they were like, "Oh, it makes him pound for pound," and I'm like, I don't know.
Makes who pound for pound?
Joshua, a pound for pound fighter.
No.
I don't think so, because my issue with Usyk is who's Usyk? You remember that argument? They used to say, "Who's Wilder fought? Who's Usyk fought at heavyweight?"
No one. I mean, Witherspoon and Chisora.
And if I ask you, right, at first it looked like it was going to be Joyce versus Usyk, yeah. Who do you think would win that fight if that was the fight that had been made?
Usyk. You think Joe Joyce would have beat him? No, Usyk for me.
I think Joe Joyce.
It's a close fight. It's a close fight. We're going to talk about Joe Joyce. Obviously, that fight got announced that he's fighting Carlos Takam. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Let's quickly read this. There's big super chat from Ben Odom. Ben. As always, ridiculous, man. Thank you very much for the super chat. The last time Fury had his top off at a press conference, he pulled out of the fight. When I look at Wilder, it's true, he did. He pulled out of a fight when he had his top off against Vladimir Klitschko.
That was funny.
When I look at Wilder, I see a man who's ready. The Fury I've seen in the last 3 hours acknowledges he's had a serious problem in front of him. I hope Fury doesn't pull out. Boy, the funny thing is with Fury, let me leave that up there for a second. Who would be? I wouldn't be super shocked if he did. I don't think he will. I think it's a different Fury now. It's a different Fury. I think mindset's a bit stronger. I think with a good team with Bob Arum, it's a completely different Fury.
And the arbitration, I think if he doesn't fight, what does he retire? If he pulls out, does he? He's going to have to retire because legally in the US he has to fight Wilder next. So I get what he's saying. I can see the similarities, but I think he'll turn up. Yeah, I do think.
And that Fury as well. I remember the shape of him. It was embarrassing. Yeah, and that was clearly, looking back, a Fury that was on cocaine, drinking every day. Yeah. I think this Fury, a lot more kids, family man. His kids are out there with him as well, I think, in America. And so is his wife at Paris. I think it's a different mindset. I really do. I think he's around good people as well. His brother's out there. By the way, his brother's ready to go at any time, by the way.
Yeah.
His brother's like he's ready to fight at any time. Okay. He's the kind of gypsy you don't want to see after a nightclub.
You know what? It was always, I always remember, so when Fury beat Wilder, obviously there's the clip of Shane Fury and Dean White, Dillian's brother.
Saw that.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, that would be quite interesting. Like, we're getting all these huge.
I want to say something. Yeah, I don't think Dean looked on it. I think Shane looked on it. I'm talking from a roadman perspective, yeah. Dean didn't look on it, bro.
Yeah.
And Dean, if you're watching, I'm just saying what I saw. Shane looks like he's ready to go any time.
Yeah.
Shane looks like he's ready to go at any time.
I did feel like it was
both units as well.
That's it. They're both big guys. But that would be that. I'll pay to watch that. Not causing trouble, guys.
I'd pay. I'd pay as well. I'd pay 100%. And it's funny because that's a fight we're never going to see, by the way. And that's Tyson Fury, Dillian White. You're never going to see it. That's what pisses me off about heavyweight boxing. There are so many fights that you just know you're never going to see.
Yeah, that's a great.
You're never going to see. But for me, I want to see Dillian White and Ruiz. I want to see it tomorrow. Dillian White fight Andy Ruiz next. But I know they're going to go Andy Ruiz, the winner of Helenius Kaunaki. That's just what they're going to do. And there's certain fights you're never going to see. What's CRB, my brother, saying here? When Fury Wilder fought last, it was 1 versus 2. No matter who won, the same 2 remain atop. AJ got battered by a non-top 10 guy. A rematch doesn't erase that. Who's the non-top 10 guy who got battered by Ruiz? Is that what you said?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't see it. I don't see it like
yeah.
that personally. I think you've got to give the Pulev. You've got to put him up there with the Pulev victory. Of course, it's not a fantastic, but it is good. Pulev was is a dangerous fighter, and I think he took care of him quite well. So, yeah.
Well, not only that, but let me tell you, look, Raps, this is why I'm happy you're here, because me and you were out in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
To run it back with someone that, as CRB says, quote unquote, battered you. Do you know how mentally difficult that is to run it back with someone like that? Oh my God, this guy bust me up, and I've got to go again. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing all the replays. Everyone's saying I'm a bum, and everyone's saying he's fat, and he's laughing and joking. To run it back with that guy and completely change your style and adapt to beat him, you've got to give plaudit to that. It isn't easy to run it back. Most people, in fact, lose in rematches.
Yeah.
The majority of boxers, when they rematch someone, lose.
Yeah. And bro, you were there
because they've lost before.
A lot of people, I won't say the names, but a lot of people, even from the UK side, were backing Ruiz to beat him again because of what they saw in the first fight. So yeah, I get your point absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind mentioning names. I interviewed Spencer Oliver, who works for Sky Sports. So it's out there. You've seen it. I asked him who's going to win. Oh, Usyk, Ruiz. So many people said Ruiz is going to win. I said it. I thought this AJ hasn't got enough about him to change his style to beat Ruiz. So you've got to give credit to someone that can rematch someone and win like that. A question from Wayne Page is, if Joshua can beat Usyk, it gives him a good base on how to beat Fury. I do rate Usyk highly, but he's clearly undersized and heavy. Good point, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
There's no Fury style out there, but in terms of a person that moves, has got great foot movement, it's going to be Usyk. The kind of awkward punches, the way he throws angles. It's almost a perfect preparation, if there is thing, for Tyson Fury. It's the perfect preparation. And not only that, but I think AJ psychologically will think Usyk's a very good fighter. If I can beat him, it gives him a boost going into a potential Fury or Wilder fight.
Yeah, and I think the boost is definitely there. I think what we can't, in my opinion, we can't underestimate the hype. You know, Joshua, although it's not a huge difference, he will be the smaller fighter against Fury. That's going to be something new to him. So I would like to see if he can incorporate that in his preparation for the Fury fight. But I think the agility of Usyk is something that he needs to face because Fury is that type of fighter.
I love this question from Hawker Mustang. If Usyk wins, then what number will Usyk be?
Bro, they'll put him to number 1, bro. They will. But I wouldn't. But I'm telling you, if he wins, he's going to be pound for pound.
And not only if he wins, look, you know I'm an AJ fan. I don't pretend to hide it on this channel. I admit it. I say it. There's a part of me that thinks Usyk could do a number. I don't think it will happen, but there's a small part of me in the back of my head, and like, if this man starts doing all that madness he does, that's quite tricky for AJ because AJ is just so big and not as mobile. It's quite tricky. I hope it doesn't happen, but I do think if AJ lands on Usyk clean, like the way Chisora did, even like the way Witherspoon did, it's a wrap. I'm telling you now, I don't care. I was lucky enough to go to AJ's gym and hear this man's a mountain, blood. Yeah. He's not a normal sized dude,
Yeah, of course. And that's why I don't give Usyk, and I don't know if you're saying that to be like politically correct and give Usyk a chance, bro. I do think AJ is going to beat him. I think with Joshua, for even people that don't like him, you have to give him his credit because he studies the game. So he tries to learn where he's gone wrong and he tries to improve every fight. You might not like, he may not be as fluid as you. You might think he's still robotic, but you've got to at least give him his credit, in my opinion, say that he adjusts and improves every fight. Probably bar the Ruiz, but who knows what happened there. For me, I just think Usyk, if he gets up close to Joshua, I think that's where Joshua's going to show him something different and probably maybe something nasty. Like, I feel nasty. That, yeah.
Them uppercut, nasty. If Usyk even tries to step in close, and he's got to, right? They're nasty. But let's not underestimate AJ's jab as well. I think we saw it against Pulev. Yeah. AJ's starting to get that jab going now. Good point here from Joe Lasisi. Says, so what, Wilder can enforce rematch clause again and again with Fury, but when AJ puts in a rematch clause, it's a problem. Well, it's true. Wilder in the second fight enforced a rematch clause. Exactly. But I think the only difference between this, and this is the point I think that a lot of people are making, Wilder versus Fury was a voluntary. A mandatory. People are upset about this being a mandatory. And I'm pretty sure Wilder Fury was a voluntary. The first one was definitely voluntary. Definitely.
Don't forget. So I don't know. I might be lost, but don't forget they fought. It was a draw. The WBC ordered the rematch. Then Fury took it. He was signed with Top Rank. Had the 2 gaps. So I can't remember if after those 2 fights with Top Rank he was still in a mandatory position. That's the only thing I can't remember, if I'm being honest. So
it's strange because if my memory serves me right, it's been Dillian White that's been in a mandatory position. So it's a weird one. It's all over the place. But what we do know is that rematch clauses are part and parcel of the sport. I don't necessarily like them being a part and parcel of a sport when it's a mandatory. But again, you ask the people like Andy Ruiz and ask Usyk, and I'm guaranteeing you they do not mind having a mandatory against. Okay, say if Usyk was to beat AJ and there is no mandatory, the next person up is Joe Joyce or Joseph Parker. Ask Usyk right now, would you rather fight Joe Joyce in front of 10,000 people at the O2 Arena or Parker in front of 10,000, or would you rather roll the dice again with AJ in front of 90,000 at Wembley? For all the marbles and more money. Come on.
But bro,
no I mean, these rematches.
The other thing is for me that I'm not against champions if they lose getting an opportunity to win their belt back. I'm even confused by that. I'm just like, listen, if I'm the champion and I lose and I say I want to fight you again and I activate that rematch clause, I don't really see what's the problem. Like I should be entitled to that to a degree. But yeah, go, bro.
Yeah, to be fair, no, you're right. They're right. This is interesting. John Crow here says Ruiz was in awful shape against Chris Arreola. I mean, dude, John, you forgot his shape in the second AJ fight. He was in way better shape. I actually think people underestimated Arreola a little bit in that. I think Arreola looked good for the first 4 or 5 rounds. I thought Arreola looked good. Arreola looks a lot better than I thought Arreola was going to look, put it that way. To the point now where I'm looking at some of our heavyweights that are coming up, and then I wouldn't mind them matching up with Arreola because I think Arreola will give them some good work, some very, very good work.
Good name as well.
Oh, very good name to have on the CV, right? Arreola. Would you let's move on very quick. I know time's against us. Then let's move on to this Joe Joyce Carlos Takam feature. It was supposed to be someone actually put out today on Twitter that it was Joe Joyce versus Hrgovic, which was obviously bullshit. But it was supposed to be Joe Joyce versus Usyk. What do you make of this Joe Joyce versus Carlos Takam fight?
Yeah, I'm underwhelmed, bro. I can't fault
very.
I'm underwhelmed with Takam. I think look, he's a nice guy. But you got to think how he's come into the scene. He's a bit of a gatekeeper, really. And I feel with Joe Joyce that his CV or his resume is actually quite I'm not gonna say glamorous, but it's quite strong. You know, when you think about who he's fought and when he's fought them.
Agreed.
So is Takam a step forward? No, because I think Dubois would smoke Takam. I'll be real with you, bro. In my opinion, yeah, man. I think Dubois would have smoked Takam.
Even your pen didn't agree with you. Even your pen jumped out of your hand. You said that, and your pen was like, "Whoa, I'm gone. I'm out of here."
Yeah, exactly. See your pen. But yeah, bro. So for me, who would I have liked to see him fight? I think it is tough. Because I felt after Dubois, you know, you mentioned FA, Jagbar, the Frank Sanchez. I would like to have seen him rematch the Olympics and go for Tony Yoka. Yeah,
I would like to have seen the rematch from the Olympics, Tony Yoka, who everyone is a bit and ahhing about. Go there. I mean, I love Carlos Takam, but let's be honest, Carlos Takam must be about 44, 45 right now. He must be. And I don't see what you get. He's solid, he's tough, he'll give you good rounds. But this isn't the fight that for Joyce. He is Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
Very tough, very solid. He's Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is bigger, younger, and at this stage, fresher and stronger.
And you know what I was saying? I feel like he might turn into a bit of a Golovkin in terms of I can't see people being in a rush to fight him. Like you mentioned Tony Yoka. I don't think Tony Yoka would take that fight, bro. Especially at the professional level. I think Tony Yoka, I think he had a fight in France not too long ago. Like I don't think
he fought a cruiserweight coming up.
Yeah, so he's not really making the progression that Joe Joyce is. And I think, you know, and I'm not saying he would beat, but I think even Fury, Joshua Wilder, would they be dying to get in there with Joe Joyce? I don't know, bro. I think they might find a way around it. I think
Joe Joyce just seems like a horrible fight to have.
Yeah.
Like honestly, Daniel Dubois hit that man with everything, and he just bounced off him. And if I'm any of the fighters watching, I'm like, what the fuck's this about?
Yeah.
It's no worth it. Like, he doesn't bring much money.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he doesn't really sell it. Well, he doesn't at all sell a fight. Sam Jones tries to for him, but doesn't sell a fight. So it's like, yeah, why fight him? Unless he gets himself into a mandatory position to fight you, no one's going to look for Joyce. No one at all.
That's
I mean,
how I feel.
It's always going to be difficult for Frank to find someone, to be fair. It's going to be difficult because whoever takes the fight is going to want really big money. Yeah. I heard they were looking at Charles Martin. He must have asked for crazy money as well. Crazy money. So I can see why none of these fights happen. Going back to this AJ debate, let's quickly end on this one with AJ. Saying AJ is the first best heavyweight in the world isn't a slight. I think an argument can be made for AJ as number 2, but it's debatable. It's not a fact. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I think it kind of
is. It's going to go back and forth. To me, man has 4 belts. Man has 4 belts. He's number 2 in the world. I'm sorry, no. Come on, now. Man has 4 belts, blood.
Yeah,
he's number 2.
The other way around. I think it's debatable if he's number 1. But I think number 2, I would say, yeah.
Exactly. Some people have debates about him being number 1. I mean, I think Fury, and I think you think Fury as well. But the debate could be about him being number 1, let alone him arguing with Deontay Wilder about number 2 or 3.
Yeah.
What's this one from Trevor Dan saying only a clown would have rated one. See, I love my viewers. My viewers don't fuck about, you know. They go straight in. You get called wankers, clowns, morons. Only a clown would have rated Wilder number 1 or number 2 in the heavyweight division. CV full of bombs into a cherry pick gone wrong with Fury. Interesting about the cherry pick going wrong with Fury. That there is a legitimate. There's a bit of legitimacy to that, but I'm not trying to say full of bombs. I mean, again, I get a lot of stick for saying Ortiz was dead. Ortiz, when he first fought Fury at Wilder the first time round, was legit,
bro. Even the second time, bro. Even the wet,
legit, bro.
Legit. I think that's harsh. I see we see that a lot. The words cherry pick, bums. Yeah, I think this padded career, that's always been an American thing for, and especially it's Golden Boy thing. Not to be slanderous, but I think you look at a lot of Golden Boy fighters, like early stage of the career, there's a lot of padding there. So I'll definitely agree.
Pad. And he was with Golden Boy, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I think if you look at it now, I always say to people, look, Areola's on his resume. Joshua, like he fought Areola, right? I think right. Joshua fought Areola. No, Molina. Sorry, Molina. I'm thinking about. Ortiz, Joshua would have wanted to fight Ortiz. So we've got to also look at it coming into the last sort of maybe 5 years. The heavyweight landscape wasn't a big pool of talent. There wasn't a huge amount of talent that there is now.
And sorry to interrupt you, Raps. He was on his way to Russia to fight Povetkin 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So he would have fought Povetkin as well. And that was Mr. I'm on every steroid in the world at the time, Povetkin. Yeah. He was willing to go to Russia to fight Povetkin. So I mean, come on, man. It's not the worst thing in the world. Smile back if you're ugly says only for the 4th time in heavyweight history where a fighter has won the belt back in an immediate rematch. Patterson versus Johansson, Ali versus Spinks, Lewis versus Ruckman, and Joshua versus Reese. I did not know that. If that's fact and that's true, that's solid. That's
so
solid.
He's saying Ali and Spinks. So Ali won it back from Spinks. Okay, that's what he's saying it, right? Yeah.
And Lewis won it back from Ruckman.
I'm smiling.
That's not bad, isn't it? That's not bad. So you wouldn't come talk about it, Rob. I mean, someone just called you Floyd Mayweather. That's a good one.
Yeah.
This is John Crow says, "Hey, what happens if AJ gasses out? Then he's in trouble."
Yeah,
that's it. But I think AJ he's in trouble because Usyk's not going to gas out. But I mean, we should chuck those arguments back to Usyk fans. What happens if AJ hits him? This is boxing, right? I mean, you're going to get wet sometimes. You go out in the rain. What if AJ hits him? If AJ hits him like AJ hits his other opponents, and AJ does catch these opponents, he ain't getting up here.
Yeah,
he ain't getting up to. What's this one? Carl Green says Chisora is 10 times tougher than AJ. Where does this come from?
Yeah, you're gonna have to elaborate there.
Someone elaborate. What? He can take more punishment? I don't understand because when I've seen Chisora get knocked out a few times now. What are they saying? I like Derek Chisora. He's not tougher than AJ. I don't understand that. I mean, he's a tough man, Chisora. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Stop this. I think they're trying to say maybe Chisora was able to hang in there with Usyk because he's a tough. I don't know.
No, but I mean, Chisora done well. But Usyk did. I mean, in my opinion, he did win the fight. It was closer than it needed to be, but he did win the fight, in my opinion. Yeah.
What's this one? We need to talk, Raps, very quickly about the weekend's fights as well. So, I promise, Raps, you can go in 5 minutes. I promise you. Edward Hogan says,
"Yeah, man, time's go quick."
He's enjoyed it. There you go. He's enjoyed it. Time flies, bro. An hour, time flies. I normally have a drink with me. Edward Hogan says, "I'm looking more forward to AJ Usyk rather than Fury Wilder." Okay, be honest, people. If they're both on your screen at the same time and you can only watch one, what are you watching? I need to see the comments. I need to see the comments. Are you watching Fury Wilder or AJ Usyk? I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Fury Wilder.
Yeah,
I'm watching Fury Wilder. Like, it's not even close. I'm watching Fury versus Wilder.
Yeah, I've got to say, I want to see what the.
A lot of people are saying AJ Usyk. No, a lot of people are saying AJ Usyk. You're lying. You're lying.
AJ Usyk, okay.
Oh, the Fury.
That's the first one, though.
The kid said AJ Usyk as well.
Okay.
Fury, it's mixed.
I forgot I've got to ask why, though.
Interesting.
That's okay.
No, I need to see pure violence, and Fury Wilder, I think it's gonna just from the. I'm excited. The ring walks are gonna excite me. The ring walks. I've got a feeling that Fury AJ could be quite. Usyk AJ could be quite dull. If I'm honest with you, I just feel like Fury Wilder from the get go is gonna be like there's gonna be a problem from the get go.
Yeah,
literally a big problem.
But yeah.
Do you think we're ever gonna see? Do you think if both of them do come through? And there's a good chance they both do come through. Do you think we are going to see AJ Fury? Do you think that's done?
You would like this. It's going to be a strange reason why they wouldn't. I think at this point, like why wouldn't they? Unless Saudi are not interested. I think if the Saudi from a site fee, but you would think other countries would be prepared to put the money up. I can't see why not.
Is it not even bigger?
They fight exactly. It's bigger.
Yeah. Bigger, like surely the built-in argument for Tyson Fury, if he were to have lost to AJ, was I've been out the ring a year and a half. That's now done. If he fights Fury, Wilder, that's done. That argument's done. And not only that, but if they knock off Wilder and knock off Usyk, and most people for some reason have Usyk in their top 5, they've knocked off 2 top 5 guys. Now 110% is number 1 versus number 2. That there is no argument that you know what, Wilder's number 2 maybe. It is number 1 versus number 2. Surely it's even bigger. Surely there's even more money now. Yeah,
I agree. I would be surprised. I do think it's interesting though that Joshua kind of says he doesn't think Fury wants to fight. I don't know why. Yeah, I mean we'll find out. But I can't see why they shouldn't make that fight.
Yeah, that's very interesting. A lot of people have got that narrative as well. That that Fury somehow ducking AJ. Look, Fury's not scared of AJ.
Yeah,
no one is going to tell me that Fury is scared of Anthony Joshua. He's not. I mean, I've been around Fury, and I'm telling you now, I actually don't think there's anything on this planet that scares that human being. There's something about him. Nothing scares him at all. He's certainly not scared of AJ. Look, they had their sparring session, which I know a bit about. That was many years ago. He wants to fight. Like, you're not going to turn down the kind of money that was on offer to fight AJ. He wants it. I just think there's people behind him that maybe don't want to see it as much as he does.
Yeah. Arguably,
that's all. That's all it is. What's this one? Super chat here from Ben Odom. Top man Ben, really appreciate it, brother. Says I can't see how Fury wins a round in the first 7 against AJ without being seriously buzzed and stunned.
Well, I can see you're supporting the channel, so I don't want to. But I don't know, Ben. I don't know.
What? So wait, so Raps, you think that Fury can win the first 7 rounds against AJ without being touched?
So how am I seeing it? So I can't see how Fury wins a round in the first 7 against AJ. Well, I think he can. He will get touched. I think it's boxing, right? Like you said, they're going to get wet. I don't know how he's saying he can't win a round in the first 7.
Okay. I think, so I've maybe read it wrong as well. So I'm reading it as though there's going to be a point in between round number 1 and 7 when AJ gets to Fury. That's the way I'm reading that.
Okay. Which is possible. But I think even if he doesn't get to Fury, I think Fury wins rounds. Like I think.
Yeah, and I think Fury could get to AJ. I'm not one of those people that I think Fury could hurt AJ quite comfortably.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when Fury puts them together, for some reason, I don't know how, but they hurt people. I remember when he fought Chisora the second time round, and he they remember the corner stopped the fight or the ref stopped the fight. I think it was the corner that stopped it. Chisora was battered. And I was like, oh my God, don't get me wrong, it's Chisora, it's not AJ, but we saw against Wilder, that shocked everyone, the way in which he fought Wilder. But I will say this, though, AJ's big, he's strong, he's got a good jab, he's got the amateur pedigree to step back on if he needs to, or to fall back on. It's an interesting fight. I don't know why.
With the Fury Joshua, and obviously it's not even arranged, but I will say this, I think one thing that favors Joshua is the way Fury was able to kind of maybe manhandle Wilder in both fights, you know, when he's up close and he's using his forearm and pushing him back. I think he'll struggle to do that with Joshua, because I think Joshua's natural physique will allow him to compete in that area. Yeah,
he was, let's be honest, people, apart from the punches, he was bullying Wilder. Like everyone, it's weird because you see the face-offs and you think, oh, them two are the same size. No, there's a 3.5 stone, no, there's a 2.5 stone difference between the two. Like Rap said earlier, Wilder could be fighting in the Bridgerweight competition. Like he's a Bridgerweight guy, and Fury is a super heavyweight. Like Fury is probably the biggest heavyweight there is. Whereas Fury was just bullying him, like anyone would bully. But you see guys step up one weight class in other smaller divisions and they get bullied. There is a massive difference. You can't bully AJ like that. It's just not going to happen. AJ will bully back because he's a big guy as well. He's a massive guy. What's this one? This is funny. I just put this up just because Ade is a Fury fanboy.
What time did he tune in? He's missed. What time? When did he subscribe to your channel?
I don't know. I love this one though, because you know what that shows. That shows how impartial I am.
It's true.
The fact that I am a big AJ fan, but someone watching this thinks I'm a Fury fanboy. That shows that I am trying to be as impartial as possible. But
it is tough. I certainly am. Right?
It's hard because I want to be fair, but obviously I've got my fighters that I like. I like Conor Benn, for example. I do like Golovkin. I like, I don't necessarily like Canelo. You've almost got to try and balance it out and be fair. It's quite difficult. Like I like Demetrius Andrade, so when he was going to fight Billy Joe Saunders, I almost was sticking up for Andrade, but it's difficult.
Exactly.
It's difficult. All right, last 10 minutes, guys. Get your questions in. Last 10 minutes. Raps, I want to talk about Teofimo Lopez and that fight. Unfortunately, so there you go. This comeback. Look at that, John Crow. No way, Ali loves AJ. There you go. Teofimo Lopez's fight against Cambosos on the weekend is done. It's not happening. It's now moved, I think, to August 18th or something. Disappointment. Big disappointment.
Big disappointment. Yeah, I mean, it kind of crept up on us, and I was looking forward to that fight. I'll be real. I know there's been a bit of I don't know, should I say conspiracy theory? People saying, oh, did he really fail? Maybe the weight thing, maybe, but I feel like he failed a COVID test, and I think we forget because we're at the back end of a pandemic that it was happening quite frequently. Stephen Fulton, he was due to fight early in August last year, failed COVID test. Somebody, I think, there must have been a few of the Matchroom cars. Savannah Marshall's camp, someone had a COVID test positive. Eddie Hearn did. Okay, fair enough, he's not a fighter. But I'm just saying it was actually quite. Jamal Herring, didn't he have COVID? The Frampton fight was delayed. Povetkin. So I think it happens, and I think we've probably had such a good run of fights that we forgot about it. If I'm going to be honest, I just think he more or less caught COVID. I think he beats Cambosos. I think Cambosos is exciting, but you can't look at Lee Selby and compare that to Teofimo Lopez, in my opinion.
Now, Teofimo is just a machine right now, and I'm with you, by the way. I was on the conspiracy theory as well, just because I had seen him recently. Well, not seen him personally, but seen some pictures recently. I thought, oh my God, he's a massive guy still. There's no way he's making 135 pounds, but I'm with you. I think he's just failed a COVID test. And I mean, it's still happening in the UFC. Fighters are failing COVID tests. As much as they try and put them in a bubble, and I mean, people are still going to fail. The world is still in a really fucked up and crappy place. It's a shame. I don't know if you saw. I did an interview with Gareth A. Davis, and he interviewed Conor Benn. And I remember when Conor Benn went to America, and he done a little photo with Teofimo.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, Conor Benn's 147 pounds. Yeah. He said Teofimo looked bigger than him. And this is Teofimo that's cutting weight to fight. And he couldn't understand how big some of these guys were, and like how they're cutting down their weight to get to a weight division. When he says he looked bigger than me, bear in mind, Conor Benn had just fought, so it ballooned back up to 160, 165, and he says Teofimo looked bigger. That's actually frightening.
That's a good point, though. When was that for the? Was that for the? That wasn't the Canelo card, was it? It was the Devin Haney card that they met up, right?
The Devin Haney card that he went out for because he
yeah,
no.
maybe there is something to it. Then maybe I don't know. Maybe I was being naive, but I just feel he's failed. Yeah, Cambosis. I don't think you. Yeah, because I don't think you go into a fight against Lomachenko and worry about Cambosis. Yes, styles make fights, but like. Yeah, like even Richard Comey, you know what I mean? Like for me, I'm Ghanaian biased, but Richard Comey's a dangerous fighter.
Yeah, no, you're. By the way, I'm like Richard Comey again, another fighter that because he lost, everyone's like, oh, he's done. He's not done. He came back and had a good win recently as well. So I like Richard Comey. I think Richard Comey is a solid guy at 135 or 140 because he's so big. I wouldn't mind seeing him at 140. Lomachenko fights in a couple of weeks as well. You know, we were speaking about all these fights that are coming up, and then we're going to get to July 24th. Lomachenko fights in 10 days time, I think it is.
Next
10 days time, right? It's good to see Loma back. Again, this is another one that one defeat. Everyone's like, oh, Loma's done. And people keep talking about the Fabulous Four. And I'm like, 1 second. I still have Loma over Devin. I still have Loma over Ryan. I mean, so Loma can still do some damage in that division. Needs a solid win, though. Yeah.
I think he does. I think with Lomachenko, again, he came out with some stuff which was a bit unsavory. So I think he's got to address that. You know, he had sour grapes, in my opinion, after the Lopez.
Sour. The grapes were gone off.
Yeah. So
he was awful, and he's like, not only that, but he even said, I watched the fight back again recently, and I still thought it was a draw or I won. I'm like, what fight did you watch?
Yeah, exactly.
That was weird.
Exactly. But yeah, so I think, look, it's good to see him on the comeback trail. You would imagine this is an opponent that he should get the better of. But I do want to see him up against the top guys. I think there's such a good cream of talent between, even if you go up to 140, which Tank Davis can come down potentially. I don't think he will, but Haney, Shakur Stevenson fought on the weekend, just gone. Obviously Lopez, but he's busy. But again, Richard Comey, I think that's an interesting fight. Yeah, I think he should be in some. I think get this fight out of the way as a comeback. You know, repair his first fight since the surgery. But I think moving on, he's got to really kick on and give us entertaining fights again.
Interesting point here from Basic Kid said, look, they moved the fight. This is in reference to Teofimo because there are 4 other cards on this Saturday. Obviously, the big one is Jamal Charlo fighting this Saturday as well. Nowhere they're going to make pay-per-view money with so many other options. It's interesting because, again, that's another conspiracy theory that's run through as well. Like, the hype about this card hasn't been what they expected. Michael Hunter's on the card. They've got a Meek Mill event on the card as well. But it hasn't garnered the same interest as, you know, unfortunately, when they had like fucking Jake Paul fighting on the card. It hasn't got that kind of momentum, has it? So maybe they have looked at it because it's weird how they've all of a sudden got a date like August the 18th. So obviously looked at, okay, what's on, nothing there.
That's a fair
you know what
point.
I mean? It's like that. Why have they done it?
Though, don't you think that would be okay? I'm not saying it's not possible, but again, then you're talking about all the media, all the teams that would have flew out there, and it's in the week of the fight. Like, I don't know.
It's weird though. I mean,
that's the best excuse. Maybe that's the best excuse, right? COVID, it could only happen in the week of the fight. Maybe, I don't know. It's a good
excuse because who questions COVID?
That's right.
No, normally, I know for a fact they've done this with fighters in the past, and someone's injured. Pretend someone's injured, but then everyone asks for medical records and doctor certificate. You got COVID.
Yeah.
No one come near me. I got COVID. It's like no one asked anything. No one asked for shit. So they're lucky. All right, we'll end on this. And thank you so much as well. I really appreciate it. Guys, by the way, hit Raps' channel, Raps on TV. Yes. Some good stuff. You heard him say Deontay Wilder on a few years back. That's the kind of guest he gets on. And Deontay Wilder at the time was WBC heavyweight champion of the world. That's the kind of guest Raps gets on. Raps, I'm going to end on this one. No, you're not trying. You're growing. I'm going to put your link in the description. Subscribe to his channel, people, please.
Thanks,
support my Guardian brother.
Yes.
Quickly, let's talk about Fight Camp. Conor Benn will headline the first one. He fights Granados. Some people are not happy with Fight Camp. Some people are like, well, after all the hype, you know, where are the big names? Where's Lawrence Okoli? Where's this? Where's that? Where's Chisora? Where's Dillian White? All those guys are probably going to have fights in America. But what do you make of Adrian Granados versus Conor Benn?
Smart matchmaking. I think he's a recognizable name for guys that understand the sport. It's probably an opponent that is obviously from an international background, gives Conor Benn a bit of variety on his resume, CV. and probably someone you would argue that he should beat him. I've got no issue with that as a fight, because arguably he's probably got better matchups domestically, but where he's going with his career, this is the right type of fight, I would say, in my opinion. I don't love it, but I understand it.
Yeah, and look, I can clearly see what Eddie's trying to do. Eddie's trying to get him out to America. Obviously, Conor Ben speaks Spanish as well, which helps, right, in that market over there. Granados is a name that every American fight fan, the majority of American fight fans do know as well. So I think it's smart matchmaking. I don't think it's a step up from Vargas. I think it's very similar. I think it's kind of a level same as Vargas, to be honest with you. And I need to see a bit more, because everyone was excited about Vargas. I think it's easy, not easy, but you don't learn anything when someone blows someone out in one round. Hopefully Granados gives him 7 or 8 rounds, maybe even the full distance. And I think we'll know a bit more from him as well. Disappointed not to see some of the other bigger names on it. No real big heavyweights on the card. Disappointed about that?
Yeah, disappointed. I feel like I wasn't surprised. I'll be honest, I wasn't surprised, because I just think they want to get some of the heavy hitters now that potentially the restrictions are being lifted. You want to probably get them in venues. You spoke about the DAZN deal, so that makes kind of sense. They've spoken about White fighting in America potentially. So yeah, I wasn't that disappointed. I just thought, it's what they're making the best with what they've got. I mean, what fight do you think we're missing out on? Lacoli?
Maybe. I think, and this probably sums it up by Ashai saying that Fight Camp is decent, but people find it disappointing just because the hype was OTT. There was a lot of hype, right? This is DAZN and Matchroom's first real thing over here, or first thing over here, and everyone's expecting something crazy. I look at the Matchroom stable, and I think for those of us that are like maybe wanting more, the stable ain't that thick anymore. Like, it's not what people think it is. Like, the stable, it's good. But I mean, again, there aren't that many super names like there was 3-4 years ago. Like, there isn't a young Kell Brook on that anymore. Do you know what I mean? It isn't that stacked as
you like him or hate him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there isn't that much. I mean, some people were saying Callum Smith should have been on it. His first fight back after losing to Canelo at 175 would have been nice, but I don't know, man. It is what it is.
And again, you think about him, you would probably imagine now that crowds are going to be, or restrictions are lifted, he'll go out in Liverpool. They'll probably do a card in Liverpool, maybe. I didn't hate it or love it. I just thought, it's Fight Camp, and I think we've got to look at it as it's. I know this is going to sound really bad, but you got to look at it as it's not in an arena, in a stadium, so it's kind of like, I guess, a second tier package of boxing, and it's not
right.
That's how I feel about this.
No, you're right, and it's going to be nice to think about this.
I might go on a bit of a Ghanaian bias rant here, because I've got to say, big up Isaac Dogbay this weekend. He's fighting in a cracking fight against a guy called Adam Lopez. Lost to Oscar Valdez, put him down when they fought, but eventually got knocked out. So Dogbay's making his return. But Buatsi, I like the Buletniks fight, bro. I think it's what we needed. I think he was questioned a lot, especially with the last opponent. And I think it's the type of opponent he needs, to push on. If he can fight this guy in August, maybe get back out again this year, I think that's a good year for Buatsi. Yeah,
I think this year just needs to be a busy last 8-9 months, whatever it is left in the year for Buatsi. So 7 months, because it is, whatever it's left, he needs to have a busy year. So Bolotniks is a tough fight. Bolotniks is a top 15, top 20 guy, and that's kind of what I want to see. Some people might even have Bolotniks higher than that. Bolotniks has done good in his last 5-6 fights. So it'll be interesting to see. It's good. Look, it is what it is with the Fight Camp. I mean, fucking $199 a month, for fuck's sake. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. It wants that $199, but for $199, what the fuck? What do you want for $199? You can't even get a Snicker bar and a can of Coke nowadays for $199. What more do you want?
I swear, I promise you, bro. Yeah, the things I see for that are about £1 now, and I'm like, what? So exactly, $199. It's on your phone. But I also know I'm a boxing fan, so I'll be honest, I pay for most pay-per-views, not because of the money. I don't go out much. I don't go out. So if I'm at home, okay, it's 15 quid. Just get it done, because I'm gonna want to watch it. You know what I mean? If I can't get a stream.
Yeah, this is it. And look, I have the DAZN app, and I actually don't mind it, just because you get some of the back catalog stuff as well. Like, I right now might tune in to see Joe Saunders get beaten again by Canelo. Might just tune in just to watch it. $199. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to complain when it goes up a bit more, because it's going to go up to 10 or 15 a month soon. But for right now, 199, I get to see Ben versus Granados. I'm going to get to see a world title fight and Kid Galahad versus who's he fighting again?
Jazza Dickens.
Jazza Dickens.
Yeah.
And then you get to see your boy Boatsi versus Bolotniks.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And there's so much other on that stuff. There's so many other fights on that card as well. So
Natasha Jonas, I hope they can put her in a good fight. I know Shannon Courtney's not everyone's cup of tea. I mean, it's a shame they didn't make the Bull fight, but yeah, again, she's back. Bro, I just wanted to ask you though. I know you want to go. We've got to shoot. In terms of
bro. I ain't doing nothing. So ask her away.
Yeah.
I can go pour myself a drink right now. We're good.
Yeah, all right, cool, calm. And I'm going to do the same straight away. But in terms of the Sky deal, bro, I was looking at it, right? The Sky top rank deal, and obviously it's not free. And I was thinking, are we getting value for money now? Like, is the value? I know a lot of people complain, but I was like, the quality is it? Do you think it's a huge drop from what we were getting with Matchroom to what top rank are going to provide us?
What are you talking? What are you talking about? Sky are going to give us?
Yeah, what Sky are going to give us?
There's no way. It's a massive drop off. It's a massive drop off. Yeah, I mean, come on. Look, I mean, I love the top rank stuff, but that's 4 and 5 in the morning stuff. In terms of what we're getting on Saturday night with the Boxer deal, BOXXER, it's a big drop off from what we were getting with Matchroom. And we used to moan about Matchroom stuff a little bit. Like, let's be honest, we moaned about the Saturday night fights on Matchroom. But I do know though, with the Boxer deal, it isn't just the Boxer promoter per se. What they are going to be able to do is get a lot of the Sauerland fights as well. So it's under one name as Boxer, but we are going to get some of the Sauerland fights. If Steve Goodwin is putting on a good show, we'll get that as well. So we will get other stuff. It isn't just Boxer. Yeah. But in terms of the drop off from Matchroom, it's big. It's big. It's huge. I mean, let's be honest, it's huge. And not only that, but Eddie Hearn was a big part of that as well. Like the way in which he used to sit in the middle and promote the fights and talk to everyone. Who's going to do that now? Is it going to revert back to Adam Smith? I mean, are some of the Sky Sports boxing people going to leave and join DAZN? Eddie said he's going to announce this week who is part of the new DAZN setup. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, it isn't me. A lot of people think
I was going to say you play there because I was like, you sure you won't get a call? But I think just to go back to the Boxer point, and I think whilst it's going to sound it's a contradiction here, I think the quality is going to be a lot poorer. But I think we probably get an opportunity now to maybe support more grassroots and maybe other fighters just get opportunities. So you think of guys like Dillian White, his kind of background, those type of individuals, you know, even maybe a Craig Richards, you know, maybe he might think to himself, well, I fought on other platforms before. He fought Shakan Patters on Channel 5, I think. Yeah, so
you know what? Yeah, to kind of counter that. Sorry, Reps. To kind of counter that. The only problem, and I agree, more boxers will get the opportunities, more promoters will get the opportunity. But Sky's creme de la creme. I only want to see them when they are ready to go on Sky. Yeah. Like when you're ready, when you are 20-0, 25-0, Sky should be the Premier League of boxing. Like when you've gone through all the Channel 5s and maybe the other up and coming boxing broadcasters. Once you get to Sky, for me, you are ready, and we are seeing European level, world level fights. This isn't a case of I don't want to see a Southern area title fight on Sky. And that, again, that might sound disrespectful, but that's not what I'm tuning into Sky for, to see Southern area or English level fight. Maybe on an undercard somewhere, but that should not be headlining for me on Sky. Not headlining. On a card, absolutely. Give them opportunity. Headlining on Sky,
but
I don't know.
That's where we're going though, bro, because I just look at it and I'm just like, well, if you're not working with Eddie Hearn in the UK, obviously you're not working with Frank Warren, because that's the thing. You've got Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, and then it's the rest. And even MTK they're kind of aligned to more BT because of the ESPN deal, right? So maybe that, I don't know, maybe that might come through to Sky, but yeah, I don't know.
I think Sky will be scared to work with MTK just because of all the backlash they're going to get from the Kinahan link and all that. I don't think Sky is squeaky clean, blood. So they ain't going to want none of that nonsense. And then they're not going to be able to answer those questions. Like Eddie can bat them away. Like maybe the other promoters won't be able to bat them away as well. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Anything final you want to say? Hour and 24 minutes, bro. When you're having fun, it flies, bro.
Exactly, man.
Flies.
No, brother, just to say, I appreciate you inviting me on the platform again. It's always enjoyable. It's a pleasure. And it's good to see the chat. I feel like I didn't get roasted as much as I was expecting. So, yeah. Bro,
Bro, these fuckers in the comment section normally are brutal. I think they're in a good mood. The weather's nice and hot, and they're okay today. But it could be also, yeah, and it definitely had a few bevies. Some of them, because some of them can't even spell correctly right now. But I will say this though, you're good at what you do, Raps. That's the simple thing, right? I mean, you're gonna get roasted if you're not good at what you do. Even if they don't agree with your opinion, at least you stick to your opinion and you explain it. And that's just how it is. So yeah, let's see if anyone's roasting you now. Let's see. Is anyone gonna roast him? Let's see if no roast. What? Oh, no, someone just says that's a Raps. That's the nice and simple. Yeah, take that. What's this one? This one's even better. Look at this. You guys make a good duo. Raps might be involved in the new studio, people. Stay tuned. Might be involved in the new studio. Andrew Spence, who's my mentor at Talk Sport, literally the guy that got me in the door at Talk Sport, says he enjoyed it. He enjoyed it, and he says, "Well done, guys. Enjoyed that." Yeah, see, a lot of people could be. They chose to listen to us rather than watch Euros. Italy are playing right now against Switzerland. I think they said, "Fuck."
That's a RS moment. Yeah, smart there, man.
Who's this? Ade, just tuned in. Can you introduce this dude, please? This dude right now is Raps on TV. I'll tell you how funny it is, because I didn't even know Raps like that until we met in Saudi Arabia for the AJ Ruiz fight.
Yeah. And
this man snuck into every event there was. I thought this man, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this. I thought this man had press accreditation, yeah? I was like, how did you get into, like, no press accreditation, but snuck into every event, like, with his camera, doing his stuff. That is, people think I'm a hustler. Raps is a hustler. Imagine flying all the way to Saudi Arabia without press accreditation. Like, think about, like, you're not flying to France, to Saudi, but got into every event, got his interviews, got his work, watched the fight, and then went home. And then man keeps doing that. Man's a hustler, and you got to appreciate that.
No, I appreciate that, Addy. And I'm just saying, it's funny because we met in Saudi, but you remember, and I'm going to say, but Addy didn't even know me, and I broke my mic, and Addy was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, use mine," and he let me use it. So that was a big help as well during the trip. So again, it just shows the kind of individual he is, not just having me on the platform, but he will really try and help people that are in the game. So yeah, that was a big boost for me, bro, because yeah, you got to do what you got to
do. It was such a big boost for Raps that I've asked him to buy me a drink for doing that, and he hasn't bought me a drink yet for doing that. So it was such a big deal for you that you still haven't bought me a drink, but it's cool. No.
The only thing I'm going to say is
it's all right.
Pandemic. We haven't linked up since pandemic. So that's my excuse. But no, respect, man. Appreciate that, bro.
No, honestly, Raps, respect as well, guys. Thank you so much. Again, hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Don't forget to like and share as well. Loads of guys are saying just subscribe to you, Raps, which is good.
I appreciate that.
They're looking forward to your content, man. So it's nice, guys. Go over and please subscribe to Raps. You know, the way I see it, people, if we can, boxing only grows if we all get bigger. There's no point in just one channel being big. You look at all the football channels out there; they're fucking all massive. Yeah. All of them got like hundreds of thousands, all of them, because they support each other. So I'm always happy to support my men and get them on the channel. All right, guys, thank you so much. Peace and love, everyone.
Peace.